I'm Adam. Hi, hands right here. This is my backdrop. I recorded this conversation slightly less than 3 years ago, and it's a rebuttal to perjury, which I'm quoting from the Canadian Criminal Code of Canada. This is a 2010 copy. The offense of perjury is misleading justice. That's under this category. Under Part 4, Administration of Law and Justice, Section 131, Subsection 1, Perjury. Subject to Subsection 3, every one commits perjury who, with the intent to mislead, makes there before a person who is authorized by law to prevent it to be made before him a false statement under oath, or a solemn affirmation by affidavit, solemn declaration, or deposition, or orally, knowing that the statement is false. Videos and links. Every person who gives influence under subsection. Now, this was not taken as anything other than note taking, so I could maintain an accuracy, and I forgot I still had it. So I happened to have found it, and I found it last week as I was trying to free up space on this guy. And this is the College of Paramedics Registrar, Mr. Karl Kowalcyzk, his assistant, Miss Webb, and his lawyer, Mr. Ryan Baxter, not named until the end as third party, and myself on January 26, 2021. January 26, 2021. And I'm giving this submission. I've already given the submission to directly to the Halifax PPS office. I've also given links to the College of Paramedics lawyer, Mr. Brian Casey, famous for his participation in as the counsel who got the teachers of the Irish Brothers School in Newfoundland off of child sex charges. He is the third chairperson for CPNS versus McCannel, that just had 7 days of hearings and has yet to conclude, and I have not been allowed to provide evidence on my own behalf. So I'm doing it this way. Mr. Kowalcyzk, and through his counsel's advice, has made a number of false statements to this conversation, and inside this conversation alone, I believe he's committed a number of offenses in terms of breach of trust. But I'll be giving this to Mr. Tyler MacCuspic, Mr. Casey, and whoever's replacing the Mr. Bill Hill, who has left due to a medical issue. I would like to know. There's a number of things that the College of Paramedics is withholding, and I believe is acting as a criminal organization, similar to what you would find in the Criminal Code of Canada, in concert with the union and also with emergency medical care, because this information was told to everybody. And I have been destroyed. I live on social assistance right now. I live in Antigonish, Nova Scotia, and I cannot get anyone to even let me make statements in court according to the rules of the court. In fact, I had to represent myself as the state tried to find me mentally incapacitated to a hearing for assessment under the 672 Act in the Criminal Code of Canada. And in 672 2.4, the Criminal Code of Canada, it says a person cannot be made to self-represent before a fitness to stand trial or a capacity trial. The judge must appoint counsel should there be no counsel to the person, and it's because a person can't be made to testify against themselves in a court of law, and that's what lawyers do when they speak in a court of law. They testify. That's why they're considered officers of the court. I'm going to keep going here. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me clearly?
Great. Yes, that's much better. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I think Karl just wanted to go over just a little bit of housekeeping there, just about the complaint process, and just about the title and practice for paramedics in there in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So I using the title paramedic and the issue of incapacity?
I wasn't representing myself as a paramedic I'm a paramedic and I'm here to help. I was representing myself solely as I'm a paramedic, so I have experience in this area. I'm a trained paramedic and I had a background in it. I clearly said that I've been off work for 14 months. In my response, the initial one, I was not representing myself I was representing myself clearly as the person who believed they were in a therapeutic relationship. I was the patient in my scenario. I was the person experiencing an altered event. In the altered event, during the actual interaction with the nurse in question, I was already well past my normal dose of medication. So let's just stop there for a second. So Adam, let's just stop there for a second, okay? Because now you're moving into an issue of the complaint that you have with college nursing. Okay.
You're strictly dealing with the matter of the complaint that we have in hand, right? So you're not recognizing the fact that you're not allowed to call yourself a paramedic right now.
I wasn't
understanding.
Yeah, I recognize it. I said in there that I know that I'm not allowed to go around and say I'm a paramedic and I'm here to help, but I am allowed to say I am a trained paramedic. I trained as a paramedic. Correct? Like I'm not referring to myself as a working paramedic.
So Adam, just to be clear,
yes.
Our legislation has title protection and practice protection.
I understand
that
title
means
protection.
That unless you are licensed, unless you are licensed as a paramedic, which you are not,
I currently am
you
not.
cannot
Yes.
use the title paramedic.
Okay, so how do I refer to my education and my working experience then, Karl? Do I just not? I'm not able to refer to.
You can refer to yourself. You can refer to yourself as a non-licensed paramedic.
So,
or you can refer to yourself as someone who has received paramedic education, but you cannot call yourself a paramedic, and you cannot use your paramedic licensing number.
Where did I put my paramedic licensing number as anything to do with this issue? I'm a little confused.
You used it in your response to the college.
But it was included with my letter from the college.
Truly.
I was just using my number was used in the letterhead from the college to me. Read complaint 090-Adam P. McCannel, ACP 32248. I cut and pasted that from the letter from the college. That was just your...
Okay.
So when I put it in the response to you, I was just mirroring what the college had showed me.
Okay. So for greater clarity then, in your statement to the College of Nursing, you refer to yourself as a paramedic.
Did I also not
just for clarity, let's just do this, Adam. This is the point that we're trying to make for you. Is that even we sent you a document using your registration, your class of licensure that you are registered for, but not licensed to practice.
Yes.
And we sent it using your registration number, which you are not allowed to use because you're not currently licensed. We as the college have the ability to use that title and to use that number because we are providing you with formal correspondence from us.
Sorry. Okay.
You yourself at this point in time aren't allowed to identify as an advanced care paramedic, a paramedic, or use your registration number for any kind of communication purpose with anybody external to the college.
So I can't even refer to myself as a person who trained as an advanced care paramedic?
No, so my words were to you, where you can.
So I can't even refer to my education, because I'm a completely trained advanced care paramedic. That was my training, my diploma. I hold a diploma in advanced care paramedicine. So how do I refer to myself as a person with professional training and experience who is not currently employed at the time? I made that very clear in my response, in my letter of complaint. I'm a little confused as to anyone who can see me representing myself as a working paramedic from my complaint to the nursing college, which I clearly said I had not been working for 14 months. So all I was referring to...
But you
identified as someone who had a background in paramedicine to the level of advanced care paramedic and had worked in the field for roughly 10 years. So I had more than a layperson's experience, and I was not to be considered an ambulance driver in quotation marks, that I spoke from a knowledgeable perspective. That was all I was representing. I was not representing myself as an active paramedic. I was clearly showing that I suffered an altered event due to a medication error that I was experiencing at the time of the interaction with the nurse in question. So there's no way that I'm trying to rep myself as a paramedic in any capacity other than background of knowledge and experience, not in an active role in the profession in any way.
Okay.
So
I'm just trying to explain this to you one more time, okay? Whether you are working or not has no bearing on the title of advanced care paramedic.
So whether or not I'm registered with the college at the time, correct?
You keep breaking up there. I don't say that again.
It's whether or not I'm registered with the college at the time, correct?
Incorrect.
Okay, so I'm not registered. If I'm not registered with the college, Karl, I'm trying to figure out. You're explaining what I cannot do, but you're not telling me that what I did was the not thing. That's what I'm trying to establish here. I'm a little confused as to.
Okay, so just take a minute and listen to this, okay? There is a difference between registration and licensure.
Okay, yes, I understand. I'm sorry if I used the wrong term.
Okay. So once you're registered with the college, you're registered with the college for life.
Okay.
That does not mean that you can use, just because you're registered with the college, does not mean that you can use the title of paramedic of any nature. You have to be licensed. So you have to have a license to practice.
I understand that, Karl. You don't have to keep on repeating that, but what I'm asking you to clarify is how do I refer to my 10-year working experience plus my 2 diplomas in any kind of fashion, because that's all I was trying to do was refer to my experience and my education, not my current practice.
Correct. So what I was trying to explain to you was you can say that you have a diploma in advanced care paramedicine.
Okay.
Right? And that you are not currently licensed.
Okay,
so... use the words, I have a diploma, so I have a diploma in advanced care paramedicine, and that I'm not currently licensed. You can say that you are registered with the College of Paramedics of Nova Scotia, but not currently licensed.
Okay, so...
You can't use the words advanced care paramedic unless you use the words that way.
Okay, so
if you use the words any other way, it makes someone believe that you're actually licensed to currently practice, which you are not.
Well, I'm sorry, I just don't understand how anyone could think I from taking away from that document that I sent to the nurses, that I was showing in any way, shape, or form that I was a currently practicing paramedic. As I had clearly stated, I had been off work due to an autoimmune disorder for 14 months. So if there was a misunderstanding there about how I was representing myself in terms of my status as a paramedic, it's quite clear from the context that I'm not trying to...
So let me just grab the document here. Let me just grab the document and I'm going to explain to you how you did it, okay? So in the document that you submitted to the College of Nursing, your statement, right?
Yeah.
You recall putting the complaint form in.
Okay.
Correct.
Karl, I know I sent the document. What are you trying to ask me here? I'm trying to understand here. We can get to the spot where I quoted myself in the document. Do you want me to bring that up, or do you have? Do you want me to?
I'm gonna, that's why I'm asking you. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you.
Yeah.
These are your words directly from page 5 of your statement.
Sure.
Hello, my name is listen to me. Hello, my name is Adam McCannel. I am an advanced care paramedic working in the county of McInnis in Nova Scotia for the past 10 years in pre-hospital care. I speak a knowledgeable, professional, pre-hospital medical professional to the level of advanced care paramedic.
Okay.
My opinion and questions posed in this complaint are based on my extensive proven medical professional background specific to pre-hospital care. To be honest, it is more of an inquiry at this point. Your opening statement says, I'm an advanced care paramedic working in the county of McInnis, Nova Scotia for the past 10 years in pre-hospital care.
Okay, Karl, but did I say anything about my current work status into that document? because I will also point out that I had been out of the hospital for about maybe a number of less than 2 weeks. My whole life was in chaos, and I had suffered a very serious event, and I was trying to communicate to the college. It seems like a minor technicality compared to the seriousness of the episode that I'm going through. So let's get to it. I did not mean to represent myself as a working paramedic at the time. I thought it was clear that I was clearly not working at the time, and that if I require some censure for that, I will accept it, as I accept when I'm wrong about things. But I did not intend to represent myself as a working paramedic. I haven't been working in a very long time. All I want to do is get back to my job.
Just bear with me one more second here. Response back to us. So that's the first spot where you identified as an advanced care paramedic, right? Using your language that you utilized, and I hear what you're saying to me, that you're stating that you are now aware that you cannot use that title, right? Because you are not licensed. That's what I'm hearing you say so far. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next comment that I'll make is that in your response to us, your other language that you used was now, and you used initials for this, but you used now AM is a paramedic and not fully familiar with the scope of SOH's practice, but as a paramedic, AM has interacted with countless off-duty healthcare providers. Now, this is in your statement that you just recently sent to us on page 9 of 13.
Okay, so Karl...
So again, you identified as being a paramedic, right? So I'm just pointing out to you how you're utilizing the term, and you can't utilize the term that you are a paramedic.
Okay, so I will change it to the technical term I'm allowed to use. I will change it to the technical term that I have 2 diplomas in pre-hospital care specific to paramedicine. I will make sure to emphasize until I'm re-registered during this entire process that I am not a registered paramedic, or I'm a registered but not currently licensed paramedic due to a physical illness only. Okay, I will be very specific. I'm trying to this is a very difficult situation I'm working in, and I'm trying to communicate with people who do not have any concept about what the job is, nor the specific language associated with the college. I'm just trying to be clear with people so they understand. That is all.
Okay, and so what I'm trying to explain to you is the 2 parts of the complaint, right? Because you provided us with a lot of information in a statement that have nothing to do with the complaint that was filed, or the information that was provided to us with regard to the letter from the Nova Scotia College of Nursing, right? So the 2 key things that are within that document are issues related to using the title of paramedic and presenting yourself as a paramedic when you are not currently licensed as a paramedic. You cannot identify as a paramedic unless you are currently licensed as the same. So the language that I just provided to you is language that you could utilize because you're clearly articulating that paramedicine, but you're not currently licensed. So that's the first issue that you didn't really address in your response to us, okay? The second issue is they identified a concern around incapacity. And you didn't really address the comments made around the incapacity. You basically reiterated everything that was what you formulated for a complaint to the College of Nursing.
Karl,
so you didn't address the 2
I specifically addressed the incapacity in the very first statement. I clearly brought myself forward as the person he was representing capacity as somebody who was working in his field of employment, which I clearly identify I have not been working in 14 months. And I also said that I believe he was mistaken and that he should have used the incapacity as a patient who is being incapacitated when he's in the care of a nurse. I was not representing myself in the role of a paramedic, what I was experiencing. I was just trying to communicate my background. That is a mistake of language that I did not intend to make. I was trying to just let the College of Nurses know that I have a very good knowledge of what should and should not occur in those situations, and I felt that I was taken advantage of, basically because I was in an altered state when this occurred. So that's what I was trying to communicate, and I did not feel that they were supposed to give me a redress about that specific issue a very long time ago. Instead, they send a complaint to my college, which is looking at everything, and your explanation, I was wrong to do it the way I did it. That I recognize. But it doesn't change the substance of anything that I've said. That's the other aspect. So sending it to you guys gets other people to take a look at that. That's all.
Okay. And so Adam, just in what you understood incapacity to be meaning in that letter, again, what did you just say that you believed incapacity meant?
He was talking, it was specific to being incapacitated from practicing paramedicine, or being not in terms of being mentally incapacitated from, it was specific to my professional status. I'm looking for the actual letter. I have a copy of it. Can you read it out for me? Because I've got my response here. I've got a lot of paperwork on my desk about this, and I moved stuff when I shouldn't have.
Okay, just hold on a second. Okay, so in your response to us, you use the terminology, the term incapacity. This is on page 2 of 3 of your document.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it there?
Yeah, I've got my response here, Karl. Yes, I have that. I'm just looking for. Okay, a register shall report to the regulator of another health profession if the register has reasonable grounds that the member of the health profession is incapacitated. Okay. So I've been off work for 14 months, been physically incapacitated from my role as a paramedic. So how's that relevant to my complaint to the College of Nurses about what happened? He's calling a person with a degree of mental illness incapacitated in an incorrect manner in which the role that person was describing himself to the College of Nurses. That's what I was pointing out.
Okay, say that to me one more time. What did you just say?
He was describing me in a role that I was not. If I was on a scene at a hospital acting irresponsible, reckless, altered, or whatever, and I was wearing my uniform, acting in a professional way, or I was off duty at a car accident intoxicated, for instance, repping myself as a paramedic, those would be areas where I would believe that I would be incapacitated in acting in a manner that this would be acceptable, his term. I was clearly sitting in my own home in an altered state and being the recipient, not the giver of care. I was receiving an assessment, not giving an assessment. So I did not believe his term of use of capacity be correct. I believe that I was not wrapping myself in the substance of what I said with the College of Nurses to be a patient person partaking in giving care. I said I was clearly believing that I was receiving care.
So let me just ask you. So do you understand that for someone to raise a concern around incapacity does not mean that you have to be involved in actual care of any nature?
Maybe or maybe not, Karl, but I'm not currently working. I have clearly identified with everybody that I'm aware of that I had this experience. I'm clearly identified with everyone that I'm aware of that I plan on pursuing charges against, and I have pursued charges. I can give you the case number if you want. Regarding my child sexual abuse. But I have PTSD.
So go down that path again, Adam.
Yeah.
So I've read your statement. I've read the submission that you made to the Nova Scotia College of Nursing. I've read the affidavit that you signed off on. Mm-hmm. Right. I've read all that information. The information that was documented that talks about the RCMP showing up at your home, mm-hmm. And the state of disarray of the home and some of that other stuff that's within that document, right?
My wife's affidavit, the RCMP scoffed at and asked what the actual complaint was. That one? Yes, I understand. That's the one, I do know that one.
I'm sorry, I don't know if it's your phone or my phone, but you broke up there again.
Okay, sorry, I had, when I brought my information that I brought to, that I noted in my complaint response, I had a 2.5-hour interview with a Corporal Brownoff at the McInnis RCMP detachment about this specific matter, and I didn't give him the information that I have given you. I have also gained information as I have spent time at this file. But he scoffed at the affidavit given by my wife to get the 30-day order and asked what was the actual complaint in the affidavit because he couldn't find it. And that's why I was scoffing, because it is not a very well written affidavit according to my side of it. And I have a lot more information on that. So I'm in a... Okay, that's all. I'm explaining why I scoffed.
Okay. So just around the term incapacity then. So what the College of Nursing is raising is that they are concerned that you have an incapacity and may have an inability to practice as a paramedic. Recognizing that you are not currently licensed and you are not currently practicing as a paramedic, it's still a valid matter to bring forward to the college if they have a concern around someone having incapacity.
Okay, so
the information...
Karl, I also would like to say it's also a great way to get rid of somebody who's making a very uncomfortable complaint to the College of Nurses, who happens to have a member of a vulnerable group.
No. Yeah, so Adam, this doesn't null and void anything that you're doing with the College of Nursing. That's why I'm telling you that we are specifically addressing two concerns that have been identified by the College of Nursing.
Okay.
We're addressing the concern that they raised around the use of the title, which is prohibited.
I understand that. I made a mistake.
And they have a concern around incapacity based on all the information that you provided to them, the information that you wrote in your letter of complaint to them, the information that you wrote in your, that the person put in their affidavit at the Supreme Court Family Division. So they're using that information to identify that there's a concern maybe around the capacity. So I'll use just this, I understand that you're having some challenges with medication at the time. I understand that you're going through some family challenges at the time. I recognize and understand all that. There's comments in the affidavit around the fact that the RCMP had to break in your door, they had to break into the bedroom. You had a crossbow that you were maybe threatening to use on yourself, which is very unfortunate. And there's some information within that document that you were actually admitted under the Emergency Mental Health Act.
I was.
Is that information all correct, or is that inaccurate?
That information is correct.
Okay. So there's enough information in all the information that you submitted to the College of Nursing to raise a concern that there may be an incapacity that needs to be addressed by the college. Our college. Not College of Nursing, but by our college. Right? College of Paramedics.
That's fine.
So those are the two key things, right? They're the two key things that were identified by the College of Nursing as being the concern. But you don't address those within your response. The letter of response.
I did in general. I have to be honest. Can I interrupt you there real quick?
No, Adam.
I actually remember putting some stuff in there, which is basically, I've had PTSD, this mental illness that I currently have had for decades, and I have functioned with it. I've returned to practice as a paramedic with my mental illness under the medication therapy successfully. This is the first instance of any issues to do with a medication issue in my entire career. Now, if you want me to show my mitigation, I'm happy to do that with the College of Paramedics. I will show you my mitigation strategies. Like I said, I'm challenging my abuser in court as one of my mitigation strategies, Karl, because I'm never going to let this fucking destroy my life again. I have bubble packs. I have safety systems in place. I have a calendar that I've used to double check that I've taken my medication. I have a safety supply in case I ever run out of my script and I have a delay. I have the ability to taper safely off it, which my doctor and I have discussed. So I've got lots of mitigation strategies now. So I have two different places. I have my regular medication and I keep my safety supply in a separate place so it cannot be interfered with again. I said interfered with.
Oh, okay. Okay. So recognize at the time. It's their expression of concern that you may have incapacity at the present time, today, around potentially
Wait a minute. Sorry, I got to interrupt. Where is the present day scenario from a letter I wrote in November from an event that I experienced in November that was clearly related to a medication error that I had never experienced before? And where was any follow-up from the College of Nursing to show that, we called the guy, is he taking his medication now? There was none of that. So how does a one-off medication event error mean that there is a continued reason to believe that I am acutely altered at this moment in time? That is the line that was crossed, and that is beyond the pale in terms of, so a mental health person has one episode that happens once in their life, and that episode is used to somehow, almost 90 days later, be used to somehow judge their capacity without even a phone call from the person making the accusation that they are incapacitated because of a one-off event clearly attributed to a medication error that one of their nurses took part in? This feels like this is insulting.
To be clear, this could have been a member of the public that witnessed the event. This could have been the person that wrote the affidavit and submitted it to the family court, right? It could have been.
This was a member of their own college. He was sending that complaint to you as himself, as I read it. It was not.
Listen to my words, okay? What I'm saying is that yes, the deputy registrar of the College of Nursing submitted this as the letter with the information of the complaint in it, right? They did. But on the date of the event, when it actually occurred, the individual that wrote that affidavit.
That was my wife.
To the family court.
That was
could
my
have
wife.
been the one that submitted a complaint to the college. It could have been, I'm assuming, the nurse that you registered your complaint with the College of Nursing. I know with the College of Nursing, they could have been the person that actually. Any single event can result in a complaint to this college.
Oh, I understand, Karl. I understand that. I'm not, Karl. You don't have to explain that stuff to me, Karl. You don't have to explain that to me. I understand any single event can. What I am saying to Mr.
Wait, can you just hold on a second, though, Adam?
Okay.
You just made the statement to me that you didn't understand how this one event could result in something like this without someone following up with you specifically.
Well, no, you just said that from that one event, Karl. Your words were that there is concern that I am still somehow altered or incapacitated to this point in time, and I made a very clear statement in my capacity to the Nurses College when I made my complaint in the middle of November that I had a medication error due to a one-off event that had never happened before. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can still, this isn't like I suddenly developed paranoid schizophrenia or something. That's not what I have. So I'm just saying that it's rather insulting to me as the person who is a functioning person and has been his entire life to be judged from one incident when I have struggled and come forward and been open with this. I don't hide a damn thing. So I wasn't hiding anything in my letter to the nurses, and this letter from him to the college, instead of following their own response, was what I feel this is quite duplicitous. I said that. So and I also said that the College of Paramedics can happily evaluate me, as is your authority to. But right, and I will give you. I have Dean Perry, my registered psychologist. His phone number here. I have my medical records. I've got my therapist notes. I've got a list of people you can contact through EHS. I can tell you that I've dealt with an acute situation, one that has caused a lot of distress for obvious reasons, one which my life was nearly lost. I can actually quote you Dr. Ian Slater, a clinical psychiatrist who was, I can quote you what he wrote in his report the day of when I was admitted. I have people that... I also have the reports of the people who let me out afterwards as well, where I was considered to be fine.
So Adam, that's kind of where I anticipate this is going to go, right? I guess the reason that I'm contacting you again, just to reiterate, right, is that in your response to the college, in response to the complaint, you're responding to us, the College of Paramedics of Nova Scotia. You did not address the two key things that were the concern raised by the College of Nursing, and that was around the use of the title, which you now understand, right?
Yeah.
In the conversation with you now understand. And the other thing was around the question around incapacity. While you referenced incapacity, you didn't use it in the basis of what the complaint was. And the complaint was that you may be suffering from an incapacity currently.
But I also,
back to the fact that this was something that occurred only in November. Well, you could say that this only occurred in November. I'm hearing you say that. But the College of Nursing is addressing it as though there may be a concern of incapacity presently.
and isn't that convenient?
So,
if they do that, then they don't have to take my complaint seriously. And I actually put this in there. If I was having the same event from a low blood sugar.
Let me correct you on that. Let me correct you on that. They, as a college, have to take any complaint that comes into their college seriously, just like we have to take any complaint that comes into our college seriously. So I'm not going to address how the College of Nursing is handling the complaint that you've lodged with them. I'm only addressing the complaint that we received here as the College of Paramedics.
Okay.
All I want to focus on. Okay?
So,
I don't want to focus on the complaint that you have with the College of Nursing because that is none of our business.
Well, they kind of involved you in it.
No,
and I'm reporting some serious stuff here.
Not involve us with your complaint.
They absolutely did. And I wrote it into mine. So I kind of involved you too.
So for greater clarity from our perspective, okay, so it's clearly understood. There is a complaint here with the College of Paramedics that has been brought forth by the College of Nursing, who are obligated under their legislation and under the Nova Scotia Regular Health Professions Act to report incidents where they have concern of someone who may have an incapacity or who may be using the title that they're not entitled to use. They're obligated under their legislation to do that. He articulated that within his letter, right? So now, what we've asked you for is a response to those two things. And what I'm calling you today to say is that the letter that you provided to us, the statement that you have provided to us, does not address those two key facts or two key points that they've raised in their document. Okay?
Okay, sorry, do you need me to write an acknowledgement that I misunderstood how to properly address my education and background and referencing? I will.
So this is the reason I'm calling Adam, is because you provided us with that statement. It's clear from my perspective that you didn't understand, you didn't fully understand what was being complained about. And I wanted to call you and say you didn't address the two key things.
Okay.
Right? So now the question to you is do you intend on addressing those two key things, or do you intend on leaving what you submitted as your statement? Because your statement at present doesn't address those two key things.
Okay, I can add in my admission of error in my use of title and my correction. And as for the use of incapacity, I have talked with my psychologist about this, my medical professional, my medical doctor. I've also talked with my regional manager about this, about how do I even begin returning to work right now, and how do I even begin the process of getting my education and everything restarted due to the complex nature of everything. So I know that I'm acutely suffering a very difficult situation on a lot of different levels. So I'm trying to be as forthright and as upfront with all participants, but I have the term incapacity is so painful to hear. I've been through hell.
Right.
I've been through fucking hell. And my hell started a very long time ago.
Yeah. So Adam, what I'm going to say is I'm acknowledging that as well, right? So here's some key. So do you feel like you're still in a good space to talk to us right now, or do you want us to call you back again?
No, I'm I'm fine, Karl. I know that my life is going to get can opener anyways. I'm up against something that's way, way, way more serious than this. And I'm up against somebody who's incredibly vile and has the knowledge of the law to skewer people. So yeah, I know what I'm up against. Like I said in my email to you, I have very legitimate reasons for maintaining my veracity, and I will not be put in a position where I will not be upfront about everything. And you've known me for a long time, and we've had a very, shall we say, we've had some conflicts in our background. Would that be fair? Back when I was your student. You know,
I don't know.
Remember back then when I had all those troubles?
I've got Adam. So Adam, I know your name, but if you were to ask me who you were, I would have to tell you that I don't remember who you are.
Oh well, okay. I thought it was more memorable than that, but that's okay.
No, not at all.
All right. Oh, thanks.
So, okay, so, but to be clear, let's be clear here about something, because this is very important. Are you telling me that at some point in time when you were a student at Beneby Health Ed, that you were in conflict with, that there was a problem?
Well, you and I, we had some issues. We resolved our issues for the most part, I believe, but it wasn't that we didn't air them clearly with each other. I was in your office.
Can you tell me what that issue was?
It was to do with the difficulties in running the online submission of, oh God, what was it called? I had nightmares about it for years. We had little iPods and we had to write our reports on them as when we were on the trucks. And
the Contractor?
Contractor. It was about Contractor. I was having issues of all my paper, of all my written submissions being dumped. And I was falling behind because I was having to resubmit them 3-4 times before they would get through. And I sent a very, shall we say, an email direct to Contractor instead of through the school. And we had an argument. I was with Adair Fowler at the time, and she did verify that I was talking about having issues to do with my submissions, and I had all my submissions caught up. But it was something that we did have a disagreement over, but I thought it was more memorable. That's fine.
So I'm not recalling. So can you elaborate upon that a little bit more, Adam? Like what was I'm really completely lost here. So what was the disagreement?
I contacted Contractor directly instead of through your office.
Yeah.
And I was
what
upset with
was the outcome of that from the college's side, from the school side at the time?
Don't do it again, and get your paperwork caught up and carry on. There was no punishment. There was no letter in my file. There was nothing of that nature whatsoever. Okay,
so but you just kind of described it like we had quite a heated discussion and something came out of that. Like, so did.
No, it was just, what I was saying is we've had a history of having frank conversations with each other about things and having to be clear, and I wasn't referring to it in anything other than that you know that I will, if I believe that I'm right about something, I will stay with it. I won't just let it go. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so Adam, this is going to take me one step further here, okay?
Okay.
Just based on what you're describing to me, I think I'm going to say that I'm in a conflict with managing your file.
Okay.
Because you've indicated that you and I have had some kind of heated discussions in the past, but I have to be honest, I absolutely do not recall them whatsoever.
I'm not bringing it up for
that being stated.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up in Harry Raggeds. I was... Okay.
Yeah, no, at this point you pretty much declared that I'm in a position of conflict to even manage your file. So I'm going to have to identify someone else to manage your file.
Okay. I didn't realize that by saying that. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that. Karl, you have a history with a lot of paramedics in Nova Scotia. You were the director of the school for a decade.
Yeah, I was actually the manager of that school for more than a decade. I have not had a lot of negative interactions with anybody over there. I've had the odd negative interaction with individuals, but for the most part, very professional and well managed
Okay, I'm sorry, but I didn't mean for that to happen.
That's okay. That's not a big deal. You put me in a position where I have to say that I'm in a conflict.
Okay, fair enough. You're working to standards that I'm not familiar with. I don't know the standards of the college in terms of your own internals. That's okay.
Well, the college can't be put in a position where it's managing a file for someone to say that it was handled by somebody inappropriately. So where you basically declared that there was a conflict between you and I at some point in time, and that we had a significant.
I didn't say you were inappropriate in that conflict.
It would be inappropriate.
This could be considered a conflict of sorts right now, but I don't believe either one of us are acting inappropriate. I don't think I'm being inappropriate with you, nor do I feel that you're being inappropriate with me. I know that you have
you can wait.
your instructions to me are quite clear.
Can you go over there? I'm recording the video. You're interrupting
No,
me.
Adam, that's not like, I mean,
It's literally an hour long.
very good
Thank
phone
you.
call here right now. It's the fact that you're telling me that you and I have
The door is
something.
closed. The door is
Nicole, please
closed.
correct me
Thank
if
you
I'm
very
wrong here, but
much.
is that not what I just heard, that we had some